Шановні гості, вітання.
Dear guests, welcome. And now we'll talk about engaging anti-terrorist operation veterans into political games before the local elections. And the speakers are Serhiy, Kunitsyn, head of the Ukrainian Union of Afghanistan veterans, Tkalich, head of the Ukrainian Union of Anti-Terrorist Operation veterans, and Irina Mikhnyuk, who is head of the NGO Wings of the 800. Dear friends, I'd like to tell you that I had the All-Ukrainian Association of the Veterans of Afghanistan created 2 years ago. For 10 years I've been heading the Crimean Republican Organization of the All-Ukrainian Union of the Afghanistan Veterans. I'm an MP of Ukraine and the advisor to the President on military and patriotic education and on cooperation with our units that are engaged in the anti-terrorist operation. Ira Mikhnyuk is a widow of the legend of the Afghanistan movement of Ukraine, who was in Maidan, and I was at Maidan with him too. A year ago he died. He was killed in Luhansk region, and the president on the eve of the Independence Day bestowed the title of the Hero of Ukraine posthumously, and Irina heads the All-Ukrainian Association of Families of those who died or went missing in action in anti-terrorist operation, and Taras Tkalich is the person who heads the anti-terrorist operation Veterans Union, and although in Soviet times he was serving at the Belgrade Commandos Division, and then he was captain of the investigative union in Kiev militia, he spent a year at war, and at the moment he is creating the All-Ukrainian Union of the Veterans of Anti-Terrorist Operation. We have created an association in the Parliament of Veterans of Afghanistan and other local wars, and there are 7 such MPs in the Parliament. For, you know, the Afghan war has finished 25 years ago. We have a experience of 25 years of working after the war, and the guys whom Taras is representative, they, you know, dying for their motherland, and we try so that they do not step on the same rake as we have, and so that they avoid the mistakes that we've made. We tell them it's more scary at war, but it's easier because there's a friend and there's foe. But you know, after you come back from war, as we were told, we didn't send you to Afghanistan. They hear today that we didn't send you to anti-terrorist operation. So those guys who come back either concussed or wounded, they have the same problems as we used to have. And there's a lot of similar problems, including prisoners and widows and all this. We don't have seniors or juniors. Taras is a member of our board, Ira is a member of our board, and we are all equal and we cooperate our organizations. Now we see what is happening in the state, what happened in next to Verkhovna Rada when they have thrown a grenade and guys died. We see how some politicians and some oligarchs try to hijack the anti-terrorist operation topic, and they try to destabilize the situation in the country. But we have a common enemy, and some people are playing political games, and some try to say on behalf of all the Afghanistan veterans or whatever that they only represent their interests. This is not so. I am a non-party person. We have joined our forces because we have the same problems. 3.5 thousand Ukrainians died in Afghanistan, and over 25 years, 25,000 people have died, and their average age is 50 years. More than 120 veterans of Afghanistan were killed in Afghanistan, in the anti-terrorist operation zone. So we grandfathers, as we call ourselves, are helping these young guys, and there's a lot of problems. We have to create rehabilitation centers. We have to rehabilitate their health and protect their interests. And there's a lot of officials who do not understand their problems. We are going to Donbass all the time. We've been to every special forces unit, and we try to support the guys with whatever we can, volunteers and so on. And these people do not have legal protection of their rights. That's why we have joined our forces, and we are preparing. We have a unification idea to, on the eve of the Day of Ukrainian Army, which will be celebrated on the 14th of October, we want to conduct an all-Ukrainian forum of the veterans of anti-terrorist operation, where the guys who were at war in Donbass will be in the first rows, and we, Afghanistan veterans, will be there as well. There's a working group now working on crystallizing the problems of those guys who came back from war, those who are prisoners and all this. We want to conduct this forum. We want to create a single coordination center to help those who were at war or are still in the anti-terrorist operation. We do not play political games, and we do not advise anyone to play political games, because there's going to be a lot of politicians and oligarchs who will try to use these people. And if the state does not engage seriously in providing them with jobs or rehabilitating them and solving their problems, we will have a lot more problems, because this is dozens of thousands of guys who came back from war, who cannot find jobs, who are traumatized. So our task, without any politicians or parties, to unite into one single fist to protect the interests of those who protected our country. This is all I had to say. Good afternoon, I am Irina Michniuk. I am one of the many who know that at this stage 2,500 families have lost their near and dear. I won't repeat everything that Serhiy said. My husband, for more than 25 years, was engaged in rehabilitation of Afghanistan veterans. And the years that I spent with him gave me the start to begin to help people and families who have same problems as mine. What I want to say is, we have one goal, we have one task, and we have similar problems. What do we have to divide? People or the country? That's why my appeal as a woman, as a mom, is to unite and to find solution to these problems, and our strength is in our unity. However many parties there are, whoever is in power, we people are the major force in this country. All the problems are solvable. We have to strive for accord in our country. Hello, I am Tkalich. I am a demobilized sergeant of the 95th Brigade and head of the All-Ukrainian Union of the Veterans of the Anti-Terrorist Operation. We are the initiators of the forum that Serhiy told us about. There will be guys from all the regions of our state who have been at war, who are at war. We have a lot of problems and they are mostly similar. If someone says that this is a forum on the eve of elections and this is a political action, do not believe it. It happens so that we will conduct this during the first anniversary of our huge, big holiday, which is the Day of the Defender of the Motherland. There's no politics in this forum. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, well, I have a question. You talked about a single coordination center to provide help for the veterans of the anti-terrorist operation. Is this going to be a non-government organization or shall it be a state-run agency? And whom do you want to unite? You know, we have at briefings people from different volunteer organizations who also help the anti-terrorist operation veterans. You know, this issue had been under discussion for quite some time. There's a lot of organizations now that are being created in a chaotic way or spontaneous way, and you know, people gather and say, let's create an organization, and they do create this. And there are different problems in different regions, and people begin to solve these issues. But as the experience shows, and I've been involved in these problems for a year, you know, not so many people listen to radio or look or watch television. We begin to solve problems of those people who have heard about us, who have got to know about us. But there's still a lot of people who do not know about us and who do not know where to go. For a year, I've been involved in getting ready the documents for those whose relatives have died in action. I thought that everything is already as usual. I thought there's an algorithm and so on. I believed so, that the families will without problems get this material support. But yesterday, when I just wanted to have some rest, I had a letter, a call from a uncle of a person who died from the region of Sumy, and he asked me, where should I go, which documents I have to gather. Can you coordinate us and help us step by step? This says that informationally we are still weak. there's no information base, and the coordination center will be a center where all this information will be collected, and our task is to provide this information to every family and every fighter, where they should go, what they can get as a result of their address, how to protect their rights. And of course this is going to be public organization, and we want the state service of the veterans of the anti-terrorist operation join us, because they have all the database of those who were wounded and the families of those who died, so that no one is left without attention. So there's not a single person who will say, I don't know, I was left aside. Because some people can protect their rights, but there are also people who have just come back, they come back to their home, they are next to their family at last, and they do not know what to do further. It's good if they have an active wife who starts to ring the bells and ring the phone and ask what we should do, but they really should know what to do. And the aim is to solve the problem of the anti-terrorist operation veterans and the families of those who died. I can add, we have a working group when we think that this forum will adopt an address to the people of Ukraine or the veterans of the anti-terrorist operation, so that they join their forces, because it's much more complicated to try to solve the problems when you are disunited. We think that every region should send their representative to this body, and we want all the 25 regions of Ukraine take part in this forum, plus those public organizations that are connected to the anti-terrorist operation, because there was a lot of people there, and the security service and volunteers and all this. Taras and Valentina have worked in order to crystallize 10 or 15 major issues, because of course there's a lot of common issues. For instance, the way to bestow the status of the anti-terrorist operation veteran, plus the issue of giving land to those people. Well, for instance, in Kiev there are commandos who hail from Donbass, and their families are there, and they live in a cellar in Kiev, because they cannot go back to their home region, and they do not have any rights or dwelling here. There's a lot of problems. There are people who were at war and who haven't got any state award. At the beginning of the war, people went there as volunteers. They didn't think about any documents. They have died. The Aidar battalion has something like 100 people dead who were killed, and they were not thinking about any documents, any papers. But now a person has died for Ukraine, and their families are left alone. Thank you. A brief question, because we have the next briefing soon. Where the forum will happen? Our forum we want to conduct at the officers' house in Kiev. at around 10th or 11th of October. Thank you very much. As soon as you have the date, please inform us. I think there will be many organizations who will want to participate. We wish you success in joining, in uniting these efforts, and we hope that the conflict in the east